Brother Ron, and welcome to We All Be News Radio and TV, the news-free Dixie for the 21st century. Greetings, family. Welcome to another wonderful, entertaining, educating edition of the Artivist Thinks. It's your guy, Brother Ron, also known as R2C2H2, the Artivist. Calling all calls going out to the wokish and the sleepish, the people and the sheeple. This is your guy. I got to give y'all my commentary about the Foundational Black American Conference 2020 down in the ATL, shorty. I went down there. Yo, guy, I want to thank everybody who's been supporting the We All Be movement, who's been donating, buying things such as art, such as shirts by yours truly to support this cause. Your timely donations, y'all don't know how timely these donations are, and your support means to keeping me encouraged to keep on sharing the word, because words create worlds, and I'm about empowering our people and reclaiming our narrative. So I got to give y'all my take on the Foundational Black American Conference, the first historic Foundational Black American Conference, the brainchild, the vision of the one and only Tariq Nasheed, filmmaker extraordinaire, Mr. Hidden Colors, interesting fellow, intriguing, engaging, all that good stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna give my fair and balanced critique of it all, and I hope that it could be a benefit to everybody or somebody out there. Somebody loves you, baby. But I just want to share that because oh man, this year has been really a whirlwind of a year, 2020. But here goes. I decided at the last minute, to go to the ATL to see this thing for myself. And it was an interesting weekend. I drove over 1,000 miles that weekend. Like, I went to Atlanta round trip, did a quick turnaround. So I wasn't even in Atlanta that long when I drove like 6.5 hours back to Memphis, because I ran up I-55 to the halfway point between Memphis and St. Louis to meet a new friend. And so I can't believe I did that. I felt like I was in my 20s. I just turned 40 this year, but I had the energy of a 20-something-year-old. Do all that type of driving by myself. But it was like a Canterbury Tales. You know, you ever hear of the Canterbury Tales? It's kind of like, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey and the return trip, because it's interesting because the FBAC was not what I expected. It was interesting in itself, but getting there, I wanted to be there on time, right? Jokes on me. I didn't start on time. So actually I was speeding. I got heavy foot sometimes when it comes to the open road. Sometimes I like go real fast. Sometimes, it could be, it's 65. I might want to go 75. It's a 70. I might want to go 80, something like that. But for some reason, Highway 78 going into Alabama with a banjo on my knee, with my cell phone on my knee, my smartphone on my knee, going a little bit excessive speed, maybe 100 miles per hour. Actually, I was getting to this back and forth with a Sistar with an Arkansas license plate on a white Kia. We were trying to, go back and forth on the speed lane, secure dominance on the speed lane. Alabama is NASCAR country, Talladega Nights, man. So it's NASCAR country down there in Alabama. Oh, Susiana, don't you grab on me. If I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee, all that stuff. Sweet home Alabama. All that good old boy stuff. But soon we crossed the state line from Mississippi into Alabama, going 100 miles per hour in my EcoSport, Ford EcoSport. I had no business speeding, like she had no business speeding in her Kia, her white Kia. Near Hamilton, Alabama, we get pulled over by a state trooper. It was interesting because state trooper initially pulled her over because she kind of passed me at that point. I kind of slowed down a little bit. Then he got in the middle of the right lane and kind of pointed his finger like, you pull over too. Like, he got his finger out, wagging out the driver's side of his window. So I pulled over behind the sister on the exit ramp, and I made sure I called my mom, let her know what's going on, had her on speakerphone, recorded everything. Not because I was scared like LeBron, but it's just good. You have somebody, hey, I got pulled over by the police. Just checking in, letting you know. Let's record this situation, see what happens. It's interesting. Speaking of LeBron said that black men, women, and children are afraid of police. I'm not afraid of police. Uh, I'm not afraid. I've never been afraid of police. I've been getting pulled over by the police since I was 11 years old, riding bikes. I remember the first time I was pulled over by the police, I was 11 years old up in Saginaw, Michigan, visiting my great aunt, riding my cousin's bike in this predominantly white neighborhood. I believe they was at that time the only black family in their neighborhood. Very affluent neighborhood, nice, like some Fresh Prince of Bel Air type of stuff. So I ride my cousin bike. And it was interesting because I saw this older white man, like he was a grandfather, with his grandson. They were riding bikes before I got pulled over by police in a police car. One was, uniform police, one was plainclothes clothes. And they asked me like who I am, where I come from, all this other stuff. And I'm naive about stuff. Like, hey, this is my cousin's bike. They said they had a high incidence of bike thefts in the area. So okay, I said, well, like you can't say I should be in school because the other guy around my age, he ride around with his grandfather. He not in school. So they asked me a couple questions. I said, this is my cousin bike. Who your cousin name? I couldn't think of my cousin's last name, but I think of his nickname he had called Brewski. It's called my cousin Brewski because he drink a lot of beer and whatever. He was known for the consumption of beer. So I said, it's Jim Brewski. I said, Jim Brewski. These two white guys, Jim Brewski. I didn't know what that meant. So I told him, look, let me lead you to my aunt's house to prove my point. Let me follow y'all. Y'all follow me. So I escorted them on my bike to my aunt's house, and she verified for me, and they apologized. I don't even think they really apologized. What they did was, we just mistaken identity. They gave me a plastic police badge, our badge. But my great aunt is from Mississippi. She know what time it was. I didn't know what time it was. I was 11 years old and naive. But they were doing a form of racial profiling because a couple years later, when I went back up to Saginaw to visit my people, another aunt of mine showed me a newspaper article about how the police department was getting under fire, was in trouble for racially profiling young black boys, in the city. How they'll go around harassing young black boys around my age. So, I've been dealing with this since I was 11 years old, getting pulled over by the police. But I never was in fear of my life. Sometimes I had situations with police. I remember, like I said, I have a, heavy foot when it comes to open road, just driving. I travel and drive a lot up until recently. So I remember one time I got pulled over by a state trooper in Missouri, the state of Missouri, about 4 years ago. He pulled me out eating pork rinds, whatever. He had pork rinds out. He said, hey, license registration, all this stuff. Then he told me to get into his car. Got into his car. He said, why you speeding? I told him why I was speeding. I just lost myself because, open road is wide. I didn't know how fast I was really going. And all that stuff. But then I told him, hey, I went to school in St. Louis. He said, yeah, where you go to school at? I said, I went to Washington University in St. Louis. He's a white guy. He said, oh, right, okay. That's good. I'm gonna give you a discount on your ticket. I'm gonna knock off some. He said he gave me, I still had to pay a lot of money, man. But he gave me a discount on the ticket. He knocked out, how fast he knocked down how fast I was going, all this stuff. So it was interesting. And I remember one time, even in 2012, Man, I got lost in the Blue Ridge Mountains, man. I visited a friend of mine. He moved up to the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia. And I remember him telling me, I live on a mountain. I said, yeah, whatever. I'm thinking about he probably living on just a big hill. This dude actually lived in the mountains. So my little Ford, not my Ford, but my Saturn Ion. I went up there, steep old mountain to have a spaghetti dinner with the guy and his family. And they said, you can stay, Ron. You can stay the night. You don't have to go. You can stay and leave in the morning. I'm saying, like, I'm like a fool. Now I'm leaving at night because I want to go back home and vote for Obama. Yeah, ran a full errand, right? So I go down at night off the mountain, getting lost in the Blue Ridge Mountains, man. About to run out of gas. I just, oh my God, it's like a scary movie because that was more fearful because I was seeing things move in the dark, like big things moving in the dark. This is like dark in the middle of nowhere in the Blue Ridge Mountains. And my GPS would lead me all around the place. About to run out of gas. Finally found a closed gas station by the blessings of the universe. So God, the pump was still on where you could pump the gas after hours. Because if I hadn't had that, yeah, I'll probably not be doing this broadcast right now. Brother Ron would have been long gone a long time ago. So I finally got the gas. Finally, my GPS made some sense. Got out the Blue Ridge onto the highway. I'm trying to make it back home to vote for Obama. I left some WAP and everything just to try to go vote for Obama. And got pulled over by police in Southern Virginia. Um, they say Virginia for lovers. I said Virginia's for racists. But I got pulled over down in Southern Virginia speeding. I was going 15 miles over the speed limit, and got a ticket. But I made it back in time right before the polls closed. I got my ass to the polls. I bounced my ass to the polls, as some scrippers say, and I cast my vote for Obama. Never again. Cost me a little bit over $300 to do so. And but anyway, so you see, not really afraid, to get stopped by the police. And the thing about it is, I'm more of a Jack Johnson type of guy when it comes to law enforcement. In that terms, like if you caught me speeding, I'm not gonna argue with you. I'm not gonna make no Sandra Bland last stand. It was wrong how they did their sister. They killed Sandra Bland. Let it be known they killed her over a citation. But my thing is, if you caught me speeding, and I did it, okay, give me my citation. Let me be on my way. I'm trying to survive the encounter. I'm not trying to engage. I'm about surviving. So you say what you want about that, but I don't have fear when it comes to stuff like that. Now, I've been in a situation with law enforcement where this sheriff deputy claimed I ran a light. I didn't run a light. It changed while I was in the middle of the intersection. So ain't no way in hell I'm gonna stop. So we got into it and he let me go because he knew he had nothing on me. This is a white sheriff deputy in Shelby County in Memphis. So yeah, the police things. I know when the state trooper pulled me over, getting back to what happened a couple of weekends ago now, when the state trooper pulled me over, I couldn't tell what he was. Maybe he was malunging or malunging, whatever they call it. You get to certain parts of the country like West Virginia, Alabama, Virginia, and parts of Tennessee, Mississippi, or even Louisiana. You got people that look like all types of stuff. You look like he was just a little bit of everything. I can't say he was a white man. He didn't like he was a white man. Maybe he was Hispanic. Maybe he was I don't know what he was. But he pulled me over and he said, "Man, you really speeding. You going 100 miles per hour." I said, "Okay." And he pulled his sister over first. She was in front of me. I was behind her. So I made sure I called my mom. And I told her it was why are you going fast? I got an emergency, a family emergency down in Atlanta. So, okay, let me license registration. I said, just rent a car. Gave him all that stuff. Waited for him to come back. He do the, look in his patrol car. So he did all that. And he gave me the citation. He told me to, slow down, be careful out there, and he let me on my way. And that what happened. So it was no story to that. But if I had only known what was going down when I got there to Atlanta for that, I would have slowed down a long time ago before I left the Mississippi and crossed into the Alabama. If I had known what was waiting for me, because I was rushing, I want to get there on time. But then, as you all know, they listed it at 3, but it didn't start to 5. It's supposed to start at 3 p.m. Eastern time, but it didn't start to about 5 p.m. Eastern. So I had more than enough time to get to Atlanta to catch the show. But it is what it is. You learn, you live, you learn, you survive. Hopefully get wisdom. Just slow down. So I got to Atlanta, got to the Georgia World Congress Center. And I've been to that place before when Dick Gregory and Paul Mooney performed 5 years ago. They had their comedy show at that venue. I don't know if it was the same room. Now it wasn't the same room. It was a certain part of the Georgia World Congress Center, and that's a big place. It's a big complex right next to that Mercedes-Benz Stadium where they had the Super Bowl a couple years ago, and also where the Atlanta Falcons play. So it's right near Morris Brown University where they did, the movie Drumline with Nick Cannon when he had, a backbone. I guess I don't know, but they did that movie Morris Brown Drumline, all this stuff. All this stuff is nearby, so it's interesting. So I drove past where they were letting people in for the Foundation of Black American Conference. Man, it was a long line. Like it was like somebody doing a farewell tour. A lot of black folks, a lot of melanin. Melanin was popping. Now they said that Rizza Islam. I met Rizza. He was good people, man. I like his spirit. Women was swooning on Rizza, man. Rizza had a lot of charisma. I didn't know he was that. He had some muscle on him, man. I thought he was a string bean, but that guy got some muscle. He could have been a wideout at USC. That guy got some muscle, and he's tall too. But he said allegedly there was 700 people. It was more like over 1,000 people. I would be generous to say over 1,000. Now, Judge said 3,000 to 4,000. It was a lot of black people there. It was a lot of black people that they had to turn black folks away. So people were trying to buy tickets at the door, or whatever, and they were turning folks away. So there's a lot of black people there from around the country. Now it's interesting how you do the estimates because Tariq settled this once and for all. If he could release the numbers of tickets that were purchased. So I can't, but at the same time, people gonna argue and whatever. Ain't nothing to argue about. But let's say it was a lot of black people from around the country, even outside the country came. Met a brother from Canada. He came all the way down to Canada for this, Foundation Black American Conference. So it attracted a lot of people. People spent money to get there. Airline tickets, hotel stays, all this stuff, room, all this stuff costs money. So even if you just brought a $50 general admission ticket, think about the hundreds and even sometimes thousands of dollars people spend just to say they were there for that $50 ticket. So you had tickets ranging from $50 general admission to $100 or $200 VIP. And I'm gonna get into that, but here's a couple of things, right? I've been knowing of Tariq Nasheed since since 2011 when I was working as a janitor at Lemoyne Owen College for my was working as a janitor at Lemoyne Owen College back in 2011, and it was a brother who works there. Lemoyne Owen College is an HBCU where people like Marion Barry went. Marion Barry went to this HBCU in South Memphis called Lemoyne Owen College, the great Marion Barry. But I was working there as a janitor for a company back in 2011. And it was a brother there who knew my work from We All Be. He was a fan of mine. Like I said, I meet people in all types of ways. You never know who's a fan, who's been watching you and listening to you over the years. So he gave me a bootleg, a burnt copy of Hidden Colors. I never heard of this before. It was Hidden Colors, the first one, right? And I saw it and like blew me away because this guy was able to present Black history in such an engaging and intriguing way that if you didn't know nothing about our people, if you just played that Hidden Colors, man, it was like a gateway drug to wow. It's kind of like my first jazz album was John Coltrane's Giant Steps. That's the first album I ever purchased about jazz. And when I went to this is when I was in college at WashU in St. Louis, my freshman year, I used to think jazz was like white people stuff. Like you look at how jazz was promoted commercially. You think about beatniks, white folks in sweaters and they berets, doing that stuff, and like like white people stuff. Then I realized it came from our people, our blues songs, our sorrow songs, as the boys talk about, came from our people, right? So it's kind of like Hidden Colors, like when I first listened to Giant Steps, you had all our elders, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Sister Sarazad Ali, even presenting Dr. Umar Johnson. Whatever you feel about him, Dr. Umar is an interesting character with a lot of information. It's not always about the messenger; it's about the message. So you got all these elders in that movie presenting our information to our people. Uh, Dr. Phil Valentine, so many people, and so it blew me away. So I was like, "Oh man, this Tariq Nasheed guy is interesting." And I remember seeing Tariq in person when he did a lecture in the gymnasium at Tennessee State University. This back in it's got to be October 2013. It was like the fall of 2013. My first time seeing them in person. So I went to Nashville to check him out. It was interesting, like seeing them in the gymnasium doing it. People. I think I forgot. I think it was a Prince Hall Masons or somebody brought him out for that. So that was an interesting encounter. Then I remember seeing him in 2014 in person, where he did a screening. I think Hidden Colors 2 or 3 in the Ferguson area. Like this is like post Mike Brown uprising riots, whatever you want to call it. So I saw him in St. Louis area, in Ferguson area, back in 2014. Had a chance to present him with a Lifetime Achievement Award from We All Be. So I presented him with that award. I took a picture with him with that award. Then I asked him a couple of questions about things, and also I recorded the Q&A session that he did after screening the movie Hidden Colors. I think it was 2, maybe 2 or 3 at that time. I don't know which was out in 2014. So I sent it, the Q&A that I filmed to his people. I emailed him that, and I asked him a couple of questions when I met him in person, and took a picture with him with the Lifetime Achievement Award. And I also gave Dr. Umar Johnson Lifetime Achievement Award back in 2016. Have a picture of that as well. So I saw Tariq. We did a Q&A for Hidden Colors 4 in Memphis at the Malco over there on off of Riverside and Winchester. The Malco, right? Malco Theater over that area. So I actually filmed the Q&A of that as well. And he was joking on me like I was making bootlegs of all doing, trying to share the information with the people. I didn't record Hidden Colors 4. I actually brought my own DVD. I brought a couple of his Hidden Colors DVDs. I haven't seen the last one he did, the Hidden Colors 5. But when the guy introduced me through Tariq Nasheed, Hidden Colors, through that bootleg, whatever, or burnt CD, he burnt a copy. I brought all the other copies after that. So, I thought they were worthwhile. And it's a great way to introduce people into our people's history, into my so-called Black melanated people history, as it relates to world history, our place in world history. So whatever you may think about Tariq on that, you gotta give him his props about the Hidden Colors series. I mean, he made a contribution, and like the universe, so God works in mysterious ways. So, and also the year 2016, I went to the wedding of Tariq's first cousin, Damian Gabriel. They got him and his wife, his wonderful wife, got married down in Cozumel, Mexico. So I was just coming back from that, and I let him know that, because Tariq got roots in Leeds, Alabama. Leeds also produced, who, Charles Barkley. So Tariq come out of Alabama via Detroit and now Los Angeles, the city of angels. So he got Alabama roots, and so I told him, I let him know after the screening he did in Memphis in 2016 that I just came back from Mexico. He did a shout out. He recorded a shout out for that cousin, and I shared it with the cousin. So anyway, that was 26. I'm just giving you a background as I go into my thoughts about the FBA, my understanding of Tariq, how I came aware of him and his work, his God work. So I'm setting it up, and we gave him, like I said, we honored Tariq the Lifetime Achievement Award. I got the evidence, the photographs to prove it. So what they said, Tariq did 1804, the documentary about the Haitian Revolution. Tariq did a concert, the Mink Slide concert, not that long ago. He released his album, Egyptian Musk. Y'all can correct me because I'm not gonna look it up. But Tariq had set the bar very high for his productions and for his work. So when I came, I saw the line. I mean, I'm anticipating, wow, this is gonna be amazing. I mean, this line is all long around the corner. So couldn't find no parking on the World Congress Center side. Went across the street into the open air parking space adjacent to the Atlanta Hawks Arena and nearby the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So parking there was about $7, I believe, which is not bad. All day parking, $7. A lot of parking on that side. Congested on the other side where the World Congress Center was, Building B. Problem with that is like, so you get parked, you don't know how to get back over to that side, right? Tariq didn't have anybody, to show you any signs that hey, this is how you get to where you need to go to get to Building B to that ballroom. And I met a brother and sister, a couple from Macon, Georgia. We kind of like, we all in this together. We all we got, we trying to navigate how to get back over to the other side. Talk to some police officers eventually or security people, and they pointed to us in the right direction. But I'm sure we wasn't the only people who kind of discombobulated and confused about how to get to the other side in order to get to the event. So okay, we got there, wait in line, was able to get in, showed them that I actually purchased my ticket. All I got, I didn't get no souvenir books. I didn't know where they was at. They just gave me this wrist bracelet. That's my souvenir, I guess, from the event. So I had my media equipment ready, maybe do some impromptu interviews and whatever. And so it was a lot of people there, vending, everything. It's interesting, and people actually recognize me. Wow, it still surprises me that people recognize me. 'Cause I know I got a big head. I got a big bobble head with my unique headwear and all this other stuff. So people recognize my face, my voice, my laugh. And I met a brother from Milwaukee. Said, oh, brother Ron, it's good to see you, brother. I'm glad you here and really enjoy your commentary. So the brother probably listened to this when I put this out. Thank you, brother. Please, you could comment and let me know what you think about the FBAC, or let me know, hey, I was the brother from Milwaukee you met. So it was interesting. Like people would call my name and they recognized me. That was cool. Now, like I said on the advertisement, it said it starts at 3, but it starts at 5. And I actually expected that. I don't know why I was rushing. To be honest with you, I actually like, yeah, it probably gonna start on time because it just said doors open at 3 or something. But anyway, that wasn't even the big thing. My thing was when you got into the ballroom and they did the social distance thing, like they had everything really spread out. The 5 chairs, sometimes they had 2 chairs together for couples, whatever. So everything was spread out. They're going by social distance guideline. But the problem is that there was no good seats in the venue to see the stage. Because the thing about it, they had no large video screens, they had no projector, they had no screens. Now you go to these mega churches or these big churches, or you go to a high school auditorium, they have screens where you can see where it magnify the people on stage. Because I don't see how you could justify charging people $200 for VIP seating with all the seats are nosebleeds. Because we can't, you don't see people. Everybody's like an ant on the stage. You can't see the body language or facial expressions. And the sound was good. Sound was great. But it was like attending a live podcast recording, though. Like, people, I don't think people came all the way from where they came from, spend all this money to attend a live podcast recording, right? Sound was great, but you just couldn't see nobody. Lights, and people talk about the lightning. I'm talking about this big, just see somebody on a big screen. So when you take a picture, you could just post it on social media. But it's like, what's going on, man? Because like you raised 120,000 online, and then people paying all this money for tickets. Then the vendors paying their money. I don't understand. I never had that type of money to organize anything, and I know I was able to rent buildings and even feed people on like next to nothing. So when you got something like that, you expect more, especially you raise that type of money, And yeah, it's like, man, I can't even see nobody. I can hear people. Well, you can't see nobody. It's like, oh, weird. It's kind of like theater of the absurd. It's like very surreal. It's like a type of artistic performance piece, so I don't know what's going on. But content, people talking about how everything was contradictory. Content was good for what it was. The content, everybody did what they do best. Judge Joe Brown, like he was like General Sherman, burning down Atlanta a second time. People say, well, he repeated himself. That's how you learn through repetition. Most people repeat themselves when you teach them stuff because everybody gonna hear the same thing at the same time. People hear different things at the same time. It ain't the same. Everything on process with people. Dick Gregory used to repeat himself a lot, not because he forgot a lot, but because just because you have an audience that you have some people that are familiar with what you said, and then you have some people that weren't familiar. But according to the crowd, Judge was a fan favorite. People love the Judge. He has such an amazing personality and the way he delivered things. He understands how to be in a moment, how to stand in a moment, how to be very present, how to project his voice. Man, he's made for that type of moment. So, and I was impressed with Rizza Islam because he talks faster than I do, and yet I can understand what he's saying. But he was impressive in terms of it was interesting to see grown women swoon over him and how people were mesmerized by. He got charisma. Guy got charisma. Like I said, I didn't know he was that tall and had some like you go to the gym, you tell you pump out. He pump in the gym. So, but he was very patient, brother. Very accessible. He had the fruit of Islam around him, but he was you could tell he's a people's person, and he know how to handle himself. So that was cool. Dr. Boyce Watkins was there. By the time I got to him, people say he won't wear no mask. He wearing mask and gloves. Like he about to go up getting prepped for surgery. But I told Doctor, I appreciate the work you have done for people in the community. I appreciate the women you put on. And he looked at me kind of quizzical, like he was confused. But I said, well, you think about Dr. Boyce, he has a talent in picking certain type of women to be thrust into leadership positions. Like, maybe they have fallen out. Like, kind of like, I think about Easy E, who had a ear for talent. He knew how to pick out certain people because people forget Easy E, the reason why you had NWA come together. He discovered Bone Thugs and Harmony. He also discovered Black Eyed Peas. And it'd be amazing to see what Easy would have ended up, who he discovered and trends he would have started had he lived past the age of how old was Easy? Was Easy 31? He died so young. But Dr. Boyce Walker, when it comes to the so-called conscious community, has a way of picking out female stars. Like, whether that you agree with them or not, they have a falling out. Think about Yvette Carnell started out with Your Black World with Dr. Boyce Watkins. Michi X started out with Dr. Boyce Watkins' Fly Nubian Queen. You think about Vicky Dillard, still doing her thing. You think about the co-host of this conference, Jade Arendelle. She's an interesting sister. I mean, wow, she's amazing. Dr. Boyce Watkins, whatever you think about him, he knows how to pick out the six stars that's going to shine the brightest. So I give him props for that. So I gave him that, took a picture with him. Of course, Judge, it was great meeting brother Gavin Richard Esquire. Check out his YouTube channel, G Boot 2786. That's G Boot, like BOOT 2786. He actually kind of encouraged me to come out and meet him for the first time in person because I never met Gavin in person. I mean, we interviewed, we collaborated over the years, but I never had a chance to actually meet him in person. So it was cool meeting brother Gavin. You're a good brother. And he got a chance to meet Judge Joe Brown for the first time in person. We took a Three Amigos picture. We the Three Amigos. We the Migos. The conscious version, the Migos, right? But I think everybody was amazing to see because, like, you look at the lineup. You got Judge Joe Brown, Dr. Boyce Watkins, Rizza Islam, Professor James Smalls, some other people. Man, these folks can just have a conversation by themselves. So it was amazing how he was able to limit each presenter to at least about 20 something minutes, and they were still able to get their point across. Then the brother had Q&A. Now, people been saying that the conference, this so-called whatever conference, was only 3 hours. No, it was about, even if we don't include the 2 hours delay, he still gave 5 hours because it wasn't open until till 10 o'clock Eastern. So we stayed there just talking and taking pictures and networking until about 11 o'clock. Me and me and my people, I mean Gavin and me and some other folks, we didn't stay almost about an hour later just networking, talking with people. So the conference in and of itself, the actual content was about 5 hours. It's 5 hours, right? 5 hours conference, 2 hours a day. So it's about 7 hours, right? 7 hours easily towards that event. And like I said, I was disappointed by the seating arrangements. You couldn't see nobody on stage. That was the issue because there was no screens to be able to, magnify people. But I had no problem with the content because people was there to do what they do. And people say, well, you can listen to stuff on YouTube. You listen to a lot of things on YouTube. But something about seeing somebody in person though, like do their thing. Something about, you can listen to folks on Spotify or whatever. You listen to your music, but you still want to see them concerts. Like 2020 got people missing live concerts still. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get into all that. It's kind of petty stuff. But some people, from my understanding, were very upset who paid for VIP tickets. Like they probably got some type of gift package or something like that. But they couldn't find Tariq Nasheed after the show for whatever reason. I don't know. He could have been in the other part of the venue, but he was not accessible. Like a lot of people, like Judge Brown, stayed around to take pictures. Boyce Watkins, Rizza Islam, some other folks who participated. Jade Arendelle, a lot of these folks stayed around to take pictures and talk with people. But Tariq could not be found, and so some of the people who purchased the $200 tickets, they were upset they didn't get everything that were promised to them. So these folks, and these were no nobodies. People always, people don't want to talk about people that into Tariq and other folks, dusty hotels. These folks were professional people. Some of these folks had high position. This is Atlanta, man. This is the black Mecca. Well, if you think about Atlanta, black folks, they do it big up in Atlanta. You got a lot of professional black people. This is Black Hollywood. So you got folks that were not pleased with not getting all they were supposed to get, and then they were not offering any type of refunds, not even partial refunds. So let's think about all the people, like Tariq raised 120,000 online on crowdfunding. Then you think about all the people that brought tickets at the last minute, who especially upgraded their tickets to $200. And like I said, there was no great seats in the house. All of them were nosebleeds, okay? But the content was good. And it is what it is, but they were pissed. I don't know if that ever been rectified, but I think that they had on the website they were not giving refunds out. So it is what it is. So he might have lost some people after this. And my thing is, yeah, that was disappointing. The presentation. Content was good, but presentation was like, what, man? You probably Hollywood, man. You put like you set the bar so high. It's like maybe Tariq's a victim of his own success because he set the bar so high, the expectations. This probably like a Hollywood production, man. You up in Black Hollywood, Tyler Perry Studios, all that talent in the ATL shorty. They didn't have nobody performing or entertaining the people. Not saying they was there for jokes and stuff and I'm saying like it's like some things could have been done better. Like, they supposed to had this thing, what, June 20th, 2020. So he had a couple of months to adjust his logistics. You know what I'm saying? Like you had a couple of months. People said, well, he said that he had other elders supposed to have been involved, but because of the COVID pandemic, they didn't feel safe coming to the venue. I can understand that, traveling, you elder, pre-existing conditions, it's a hassle, but he could have Zoom or StreamYard or did something, but they could have utilized technology to bring the elders to us. They could have brought these folks to us via technology. What's irony is that you had people that were vendors who had expertise in streaming and all this stuff and technology, doing all this stuff. You had them right there trying to, they networking, but they right there. You could have utilized them to help, bring these elders that couldn't make it in person to us via technology, let alone to help create a screen, and people say it costs money, but man, I never had a budget to do anything for 120,000. But it kind of like, what they said, what he did was kind of like what I would have done because I never had no budget like that. I do a lot of grassroots organizing in my community. We do programs and stuff. We depend on the community. We work with institutions and people in said community to bring the programming. So we don't have all the bells and whistles of a revolt political convention or whatever summit. We won't have that, but what we do have is sincerity and authenticity, and utilizing what we do have to hopefully build upon what we can manifest even bigger and better. So, but Tariq should be at a certain level where he shouldn't be at that level, like where I would have been had I did something like that. Because he had the budget. He could have did something brighter and better in terms of presentation. Um, and also this utilize. I mean, do we have to have a in-person meeting, an in-person convention? Could you just put the whole thing online, Zoom the whole thing, or whatever we do, Facebook Live, YouTube it? You know, uh, we're in a new reality now where a lot of large gatherings won't be happening. I guess for the foreseeable future, we're looking at professional sports games with no audiences, with nobody to cheer you on. It's kind of weird time to be alive. It's very Orwellian to be alive right now, but yeah, and then my understanding that the place where we met at was a a makeshift COVID-19 hospital. Atlanta, man, is interesting because they don't believe in wearing masks or safe sex down the line. They don't believe no social distance, shorty. We went to the restaurant 10 afterwards. Me and brother Gavin and some good brothers some were participants in the event, some were the supporters. I mean, we had a amazing just a black man, real straight, no chaser talk, man. It was good to build a network with these brothers. I plan on helping some of these brothers on the platform, but we went to the 10 restaurant, which is right next to Mercedes-Benz Stadium, right not that far away from all that. And Atlanta got some beautiful women, but nobody was practicing social distancing, man. Like everybody was on top of each other, like everything. I mean, in terms of like the seating in the restaurant, the 10 restaurant. Now, this was a restaurant that Shaq recommended on his social media, and they just like got so many customers coming in to the 10 restaurant. A lot of places are now are going by COVID-19 pandemic recommendations for opening hours, but this place stayed open late hours, so we couldn't find nowhere else to go. We went there. It was an amazing experience just talking with the brother, but nobody was socially distant. Everybody was on just shorty. You could bump elbows and hit people elbows and stuff. It was no room. Throw them bowls, right?
And let me clarify a couple things. I'm talking about more of a Jack Johnson type of dude when it comes to dealing with law enforcement, and in terms of me and my speed racing propensities sometimes. Propensities, but people, it's interesting dealing with our people because our people got interesting, very interesting imaginations. Like what Josephine Baker said when she was walking her, I think, a leopard down the street in Paris, and she was just observing how white folks was oohing and awing, and she probably trying to figure out what they were thinking about in terms of who they think was more animal, her or the cat, or the wild cat she was walking down the street, who was really in control of who was walking who down the street. And she said something to the effect that white folks got a strange or funny imagination when it comes to how they view black people. And black folks got strange and funny imaginations how we come to view ourselves. Like, I made a statement about, I'm more Jack Johnson when it comes to handling myself in certain situations, getting pulled over by the police. People automatically assume that I'm in the fighting mode. Jack Johnson was a great boxer, one of the greatest boxers of all time, one of the greatest defensive boxers, especially of all time. We think about the defensive boxers, you think about somebody like Floyd Mayweather. So he was before Floyd Mayweather, many decades before Floyd Mayweather was even in somebody's sperm sack, let alone his father was born. Jack Johnson was the greatest defensive boxer of his era. And people assume that, when I say I like Jack Johnson with law enforcement, I'm coming out fighting and I could dodge bullets. No. What I mean by Jack Johnson is the fact that there's a story when he was speeding through, I think, Georgia, going real fast, maybe 100 miles per hour per se. He was pulled over by the police in Georgia. I believe it was Georgia. Y'all can correct me because y'all love to correct black men. A lot of y'all do. And the officer said the speeding ticket was going to cost $50. And Jack Johnson handed him $100 bill. He said, "Keep the change. Come on, speed on the way back through here." You understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, I violated the code, but I'm willing to pay the cost to be the boss. That's what I'm really saying. I'm not afraid to pay for my consequences of my actions. And nobody should be afraid to owe up to their actions and pay the consequences of their actions if you were not afraid to pursue said action, or consequence, So with that said, that's what I meant by that. Nothing, no big deal. But y'all get into this boogeyman bag. Y'all want to see me videos or this is how you deal with the police. I've been dealing with the police all my life. I'm 40 years old. Like I said, I've been getting pulled over by police since I was 11 years old. And I never had any like really, real horrible experience. And I had some interesting experiences where the person that treated me bad was actually a black cop. It wasn't a white cop per se. It was a black cop. I was with my brother, and I didn't make no illegal turn, but he pulled me over for whatever reason. And he was a young guy, and my brother was in the car with me, and my brother thought that was strange how he was treating us. So yeah, I had my things, but I survived the encounter. That was several years ago, and I'm here to tell you the tale. So I'm not a fool, Like I always tell people, very smart people do stupid things all the time. Doing stupid things ain't only a thing that's connected to stupid people. So very smart people do foolish things all the time. And the beauty about it is that you don't pay the ultimate sacrifice. You learn from the encounter, you learn from the lesson, and hopefully you gain wisdom. So on that, so I just want to clarify that with the speeding thing. I'm gonna slow down because it was no reason to rush to get to the Foundational Black American Conference. As I saw, it wasn't what I expected to be, but at the same time, it was a beautiful experience. Now, I'm not knocking everything as being a negative. A lot of people going very negative on the FBA conference, but that's a lot of things. I remember when I went 5 years ago to the Millions More movement, Justice or Else, it was a disappointment. It was. Farrakhan got us there on Saturday, did a speech, rambling all over the place, wasn't focused, had to walk back Justice or Else. I mean, people, and you see 5 years later, we still catching hell. Black folks ain't no the or else is more hell. There's justice or more hell for black people. We have yet to really take it upon ourselves to do what is necessary to correct wrongs that we allow to be held against us. So we still afraid to walk the walk and talk the talk. But this is not dissing Farrakhan, but I'm saying, black folks think that all our problems will be solved by singing some freedom songs and marching and protesting. But like I tell you, there's no such thing as a peaceful protest or a bloodless revolution, and you're getting killed anyway. When you don't fight back and protect yourself and your family, you're easy pickings. Your collateral damage, your clay pigeons at the shooting range. We're easy pickings, black people are. That's why people take advantage of us. If we really fought back like we should fight back and stand up for ourselves, there'll be no issue with certain things happening. There'll be a non-starter because they will never happen. But the fact that we allow ourselves to be put in positions to be taken advantage of, even by our own, is a problem. You know, like somebody said, they were interested in another event like this. I'm not interested in doing too many more of these type of events. We have yet to have anything come out of these events, these so-called meetings in the last several years that really would be a benefit to black folk. You think about, we always had a need for mass meetings. That's very important. Think about Gary, Indiana, the Black Power or Black Political Convention up in Gary back in 1972. We had the widows of Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X come out in solidarity with the people. You actually had some progressive-minded folks still around on the scene trying to do a Black first agenda. You had some of our great ones, and we've forgotten about a lot of the great ones. We worship at the altar of foolishness and mediocrity and white appeasement, but we don't recognize the ones like Fannie Lou Hamer's, the Kwame Torres, the Marion Barrys. We don't really utilize them like we should in terms of them being not only inspirational as righteous ancestors, but also the blueprint they left behind for black liberation and empowerment. Fannie Lou Hamer lived most of her life on the plantation, didn't know she could vote until her early 40s. Once she figured it out, she couldn't be stopped. They almost beat her to an inch of her life in a jail cell in Winona, Mississippi, right before they killed Medgar Evers. The day before, actually, she was beaten to an inch of her life by black male prisoners, protect black women, but she was not protected. Black male prisoners were used to beat her. But if she knew that they were not the ones responsible, it was the system that gave them the okay to beat her to an inch of her life. Injuries that she sustained for the rest of her life that probably caused her premature death in her 50s. But Faye Newhamer promoted Black folks, started on gardening, community gardens, whatnot. She wanted Black folks to own affordable houses in their lifetime, to be homeowners. She had all these plans that she implemented towards the end of her life that were carried out to a certain degree by certain individuals and organizations. But in 2020, they are still unfulfilled. We was closer to what we needed in Fannie Lou Hamer's time than we are now in 2020, which is really upsetting and troubling because we're not students in history. We don't know that. We don't know what we lost when we lost a Fred Hampton Sr., the real great impact of losing people like that, or anybody who really cared about our people, who were servant kings and servant queens, who put the people's interest before their own ego. So the conference was interesting. It was a silver lining. It had a lot of positive things come out of it. Potential relationships being built, relationships being further strengthened by meeting one-on-one in person. And I know the best is yet to come. But like the Minister Farrakhan, when he did, I mean, like, y'all should go YouTube Dr. John Henry Clark's critique of the Million Man March from 1995. He did it immediately after the Million Man March. And some of the stuff he said was hard truths. People were very upset by what he said. But, think about it. Reflect on what John Henry Clark said. It's not about the messenger, it's about the message. And he made some valid points. You're not going to come up on no freedom on some great articulate speech. We still got this thing where we treat politics like church and our revolution like comfort food. We treat politics like church and our revolution or liberation movement like comfort food. That's Black people. We treat, I see why I said, all right. We treat our politics like church and our revolutions like comfort food. We got to get out of our comfort zone. We got to get out there, believe, and start to know what we need to know in order to act and move in a certain way. And in a lot of ways, the FBA conference was a missed opportunity for that because, yes, I enjoy the diversity of views from the presenters and speakers and stuff like that, but there really was no unifying thing. Like, I think about it now. I wish Tariq could have invited somebody like Ice Cube to really present his plan for Black America, his contract for Black America, to a very receptive audience. I mean, we didn't do any pledge. It was anything. It was like, it was like a meet and greet type of thing. It was like a little party, celebration, feel good. It's like church. Like I said, it's just like church. And once you get out of here, you just got to still get the reality that you might be one paycheck away from being homeless, one missed paycheck away from being homeless. Still gotta figure if you want to eat today or keep the lights on tomorrow. So we got a lot of things going on in Black America that unfortunately won't be addressed in a day conference or any type of conference or Zoom meeting or whatever. But yeah, I just wish that it could have been a little bit more focused. It's kind of like all over the place, but I enjoyed it, But like I said, to me, what bothered me was the presentation of it all. They could have projected, used large screens and stuff like that. Could have utilized more technology to bring in more of the elders who were not able to make it in person. So it could be a little bit more interactive. I think they could have used a little bit more entertainment. Could have had some refreshments for the people for all the money that was raised. Because I do stuff like this all not now on that scale. But like I said, my organization, the We All Be Group Incorporated, I'm not just a podcast or do on YouTube, man. I'm doing stuff in the community. I'm raising money to raise awareness about issues and to correct historical wrongs. Like my organization raised over $3,000 to erect a historical marker in honor of the victims of Nathan Bedford Forest during the Fort Pillow massacre of April 12, 1864 in the Civil War, where almost 300 Black U.S. colored troops, were murdered in cold blood by Nathan Bedford Forrest, the first Grand Wizard of the KKK. So we've been doing wreath-laying ceremonies for the last several years to bring more awareness to the sacrifices of our righteous ancestors. And so we also raised money to erect a historic marker in front of the Memphis National Cemetery where the mortal remains of our ancestors are resting. So this is stuff I do, and then like we have big ceremonies. We involve institutions and individuals within the community, and a lot of times when we do our thing, we always try to feed our people who helped us as a thank you. We try to get sponsors and whatnot. We're nonprofit 501c3. We get sponsors, donations, and stuff like that. But I never had a budget nowhere near what Tariq had, and it's like he did something that I would have been able to do with my little limited budget. You know what I'm saying? We expect more from a Tariq Nasheed because of his reputation and what he has done over the past. But all this to say, it's tough love, but at the same time, I try to give a balanced perspective. Like I said, people take what they want to take. You can say something and people take it and run with it the way they want to run with it. And like I said, like I have no animosity. I have no axe to grind with Brother Tariq. I have spent money with Tariq Nasheed over the years. Went to to his town halls, recorded Q&As and stuff like that. And no, I was not interested in recording this for the people. A lot of times, you try to do things with good intentions. What they said, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I call myself being a documentarian of the community. Sometimes people appreciate when you document their work. Sometimes people don't appreciate it. And they say, why I'm doing this? I'm not getting paid for it. I'm not making money from this. Like I'm saying, like a lot of times I don't even feel like I want to do commentary anymore on WeAllBe. I just want to quit and just do my artwork and just be myself, read good books, and focus on ways to get laid. I guess I'm not having any luck with that, but that's another story. But what I'm saying is that I choose to keep on doing it because it's funny how the universe, so God, would motivate you and find ways to get you back inspired to serving your people. And this is a love act because, like I said, I had to deal with some hard truths when I came to doing this video, but it's done in love, not out of malice or hate or spite. I wish Brother Tariq well on his ventures and anything else. But I hope he learn and grow from this experience that, just please, brother, whatever you do, you got a large platform. Don't take your people for granted, man. Do right by your people. Don't only feed your people knowledge, but feed your people sometimes when you got their attention, that's 7 hours. Like people some of those 3 hours. Now it was 7 hours, even if you include the 2 hour delay, and all was 7 hours. How you say that? Because I was there. I drove all that way from Memphis down to Atlanta to see that, to be witness to that. I'm providing you all with my perspective on the whole thing via this video presentation, this so-called podcast, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I care, and I want to thank you all who have helped me over the years to support this platform, so I can be able to travel to places on location and give y'all a different perspective you may not get from the mainstream media because they didn't cover this, or from anybody else. And also, I pride myself on being unique in my perspective because I try to put some historical context. Like I said, our people always met on issues of the heart as it pertains to the destiny of our people. You go back, I said, the Gary, Indiana Black Power Political Convention of '72. You look at even the ex-slaves, Sister, the Righteous Star, Callie House from Nashville. They had ex-slave reparation convention meetings right back in the day. A lot of people end up going into Marcus Garvey's United Negro Improvement Association. So they got her for Mel Fry too, like they did Marcus, but they got her before. This is Callie House. Look up Sister Callie House from Nashville, Tennessee. Callie House, like HOUSE, our house. Okay, our house. Okay, Callie House. Look up. Take a look. It's all online. And check out Sister Mary Francis Berry book on Callie House. So we got to start getting back to reading. I want to encourage y'all. It's a time for us to form our own study groups. If you haven't done so already, form your study groups. I'm going to say that once again. Form study groups, conventions, all this stuff right now, whatever. Go ahead, spend that money on some books, get a book club going, start educating our people. What this COVID pandemic has exposed is that a lot of us are not very well versed on who we are as a people. And we, especially those who have kids or children, we are failing our children when we have no knowledge of self to help them in their own understanding who they are. Because the foundation of any pursuit in life should have a strong foundation of knowledge of self. And it does not come from the schools. Schools are not responsible for teaching your kids about their family tree. You as a parent, you as an elder, you as a family member, you as a community member, a member of the village, we are responsible for strengthening the roots of our children. And who they are. And like I tell people all the time, when I date somebody, I say, look, I know you got kids, and so I'm not interested in raising kids. You don't really want me to raise your kids because you already imprinted on how you brought up your kids. But what I can do as a responsible member of the village of the community is I can make myself available to help teach your kids certain things, right? I know people come to me all the time. It's amazing. They use my videos and whatever I got out there as a part of their curriculum to homeschool their children or to help them with research projects at school. I had a sister a couple of years ago just called me and thanking me emphatically about having the information out on Dr. King's assassination, having all the videos I did with people like Dick Gregory, people that work with Dr. King, Dr. William Pepper, police officers who were part of Dr. King's security detail. She thanked me for having that information available because it helped her daughter do her school project, you know, on that. And I had a guy from Chicago who's an educator up in the Chicago school system. He thanked me for having information out there about the Memphis Race Massacre of 1866. He also utilized that as a part of his teaching curriculum to young people in Chicago. Or I get all these stories. People talking about, oh, Brother Ron, that video presentation you did on James Fitzgerald. My college professor showed it to us in class, and made us look at it and study it. So, I mean, it's very humbling to know that, by me sharing my passions, it helped empower other people to pursue things. So this is why I do what I do. Like I said, I'm not looking no pat on the back or no pat on the head. I hate when somebody try to touch my head. I hate it. But it is what it is. And that's my story. And I'm sticking with it, man.
But getting back to the conference, the silver lining of it all. Like I said earlier, it's not about always about the destination, it's about the journey, right? So the fact that I was able to meet people who were influenced and inspired by my work over the years, that's wow. I didn't know, like I said, it's always very wow for me to know that people are really listening to what I've been put out there and they benefited from it. And like I said, the co-host, Jade Arendelle. Now, that's a beautiful sister in so many ways. She's the queen, Lioness Crown out of DC, one of DC finest in so many ways. This is amazing. Like, it was interesting because I really enjoyed how she facilitated and moderated things. You could tell she's a natural at interviewing people, and she know how to make people feel comfortable and speaking their truths, which is not always the easy thing to do. So I want to get her a shout out. Hopefully we get her on the show. Hope I don't talk too bad. I try to be fair and balanced about my assessment of everything. But she's a good sister. And I remember afterwards, like after everything went and we were walking out the ballroom and into the lobby, she's like her eyes got bright when she saw me. I said, "What?" She said, "Oh, brother Ron, and thank you all the work you done, and you got us hip to Judge Joe Brown after he went off the air on his TV show, and we thank you for that." Cause people don't understand, like I was one of the first people to really interview Judge Joe Brown on a consistent basis. I actually started interviewing him in 2014, the same year he ran for DA, Shelby County down in Memphis. Also, when his show did not get renewed for whatever reason, because he had a very popular show, but Judge is like, he won't speak his mind and stand his ground, and it is what it is. But Judge got money. Don't feel sorry for him because they unleashed a beast when they got him off of TV and into the social media thing. So, like, I was one of the first people to start interviewing Judge on a regular basis. So by me doing that over the years, so that was 6 years ago, people got a different perspective of Judge Joe Brown, unfiltered, uncut, raw, just like straight shooter, man. So she was giving me my props on that, and also for interviewing Dr. Randy Short over the years for a lot of time. I met Dr. Short in 2013 down in Lithonia, Georgia, at a meeting called by Cynthia McKinney for the top black activists from the country. I also met Irritated Genie and Cleo Monago and some other people like the brother who just passed. May he rest in peace. The new Black Panther brother was down there. Met him and some other people. She just put out a call to activists. Mukasa Dada used to be known as Willie Ricks, the right hand man to Stokely Carmichael Kwame Torre. He the one that gave Stokely the Black Power thing. They're working together in Mississippi. But Jay gave me a shout out on her summary of the FBAC conference, and I'm just returning the favor. And hopefully, we can have her on. We all be soon. I know she's very much in demand. She stays busy. She's doing the people work. But I told her, sister, you got the spirit. You move in the spirit of our righteous ancestors, Ida B. Wells, Barnett, and Mary Church Turrell. And these both were Memphis women. And she reminds me of them. She's so beautiful in so many ways. She got a glow. She said her face was greasy when she matched as a glow. You got that glow. You like the last dragon in this piece, right? Yeah, but she's a good sister, and I wanted to encourage her because, like she said, she told me she started what she's doing on Fly Newbie Queens just because she was trying to fill that void. She didn't see that her perspective getting out there, the perspective that she represents. She didn't see it really being amplified. So she took it upon herself to amplify that perspective. And you look at where she's going. She's on a fast track of going places. And I wish that sister nothing but love and amplify blessings and continue to bless our people. What you do. And so much. Took pictures. Like I said, I met Gavin. Good people. Let's see if I can find the selfie I took with our dear sister. It's somewhere in here. Yeah. It's Jade. She is a gem. Jade's a gem. I look forward to seeing her again and even working with her on some things in the future. But yep. But I don't think I will go to another FBAC. I'm glad I went to the first historic one. I wish I could have went to the A.L.L. I had some conflicts, scheduled conflicts, the A.L.L. conference, I think last year. But my thing is this. I think that we all know what needs to be done. A lot of us are not committed to doing what needs to be done because there's sacrifices that need to be made. And I want to encourage people where you at to start your own groups because all politics are local. Local. Start locally. Create study groups. Like-minded black men, women, and children. I put out part one of my suggested reading list for black people, or about black subjects, by black authors, but about black topics, things that affect black people. I put out 55 books for people to get. You can't please everybody. People were mad. Some followers of Elijah Muhammad were mad that I didn't put him in the top 55. I said it's not a ranked list. He's on the list, but it's not a ranked list. It's just something to give the people because for years, people been asking me, emails, texts, calls, in person, Brother Ron, what should I be reading right now? And I said, well, you should just want to read just for the sake of reading a lot of times, just to acquire knowledge, a different perspective, uh, help feed your imagination. But I'm saying I'm going to start getting out, books that people should read, books that were recommended to me, books that I have read, and it is what it is. So you can't please everybody. But I told him I got Elijah Muhammad's book coming in 56 to 110, I guess, or 105. I have those out in that rank. But yeah, I take this stuff seriously. Sometimes I like to laugh and joke about myself, but I take what I do in terms of feeding the people seriously. Like Dick Gregory christened me. He christened me after cursing me with the name the feeder. He said, I'm the feeder. I got to feed the people. So I try to feed the people the best I can. Sometimes, it is, oh my, it's like, oh, why am I doing this? Like I said, that weekend I had a lot of energy. I don't know where that energy came from. I was driving all around, And it was cool because kind of like I didn't get a chance to really get on the road like I wanted to when I turned 40 back in April of this year. So it kind of like it was just a late birthday present to be able to get out on the road and to meet new people and make connections. But with the you don't need leaders like we think we do. We just need to believe in ourselves and be honest with that person staring back at you from the mirror. You are responsible for you. You are accountable for you. You got to decide what's best for you. and that's very important. And like I said, it wasn't what I expected, but it wasn't bad either. It was disappointing on a certain level, yes, but not really, because what happened was it was good to just connect with people, to meet with people, um, to get reinforced encouragement. Because with interest, like I said, I went to Tariq Nasheed's first cousin wedding down in Cozumel back in 2016, and one of the people I met down there, one of their cousins, she recognized who I was, like my big old head and my my head where she went her way. She embraced me. She was cool. I said, "Oh, I remember you." Because she was a good looking red sister and got this sudden hospitality. I said, "Baby, I should have got with you." What I'm saying? During that trip, but it was cool. It was like kind of like a family reunion. Then I met Tariq's mom and thank I said, I know you proud of your son. We took a picture with Tariq's mom, with sister child to Kimberly, the sister who recognized me, Tariq's cousin, and the family. Now they all from Leeds, Alabama. That's where Charles Barkley from. And they got stories about Charles Barkley and his family. We didn't talk about that during the thing. But yeah, that's interesting. But Tariq's mom actually like his cousin's mom. And they both sisters. So they got a strong family resemblance in their family. So it was good seeing that sister, man. Brought back some good memories. And also, like y'all, if y'all follow me on social media, I met a brother back in March, the weekend before all this stuff went to crap when we lost 2020 forever. I met this brother in the vitamin shop. He was looking at me hard, glistening at me hard. We was in the same line. He was in front of me. And I'll try, how some people look at you with an intensity. You try to ignore it, like you don't see them looking at you. They found that my curiosity got the best of me. I said, man, everything all right? You got a problem? He said, no, no, no. So what's going on? He said, well, you look familiar. I said, okay, I look familiar, huh? I said, yeah. I said, did I sleep with your wife or your girlfriend, your mama, your aunt, your sister, anybody? No. Do I owe you money? No. Do you want what my ass? No. Is it a good, positive, or negative or bad experience with me or thought? No, it's not bad. I said, okay, okay, okay. I said, So I gave him my card. He saw my card. He saw the logo. He said, oh, man, you brother Run. We all be, man. Judge Joe Brown. I love your stuff. I listen to you all the time. I said, wow, that just humbled me. This back on March the 7th, 2020, right? So I go down to Atlanta, and guess who run into me? Like, when I was in the store at Vitamin Shop, I had colloidal silver in my hand. He asked me what that's about. I told him what colloidal silver was. Colloidal silver was, and he got out of line and got the last bottle of colloidal silver in the store. And this on my recommendation, not a recommendation, but I was telling them about the benefits why I take it. It's been beneficial to me as far as I know, because I've been keeping not getting sick and stuff. I take like a whole bunch of stuff. I take about 20 some different type of vitamins and supplements every day. Like I'm a senior citizen on Medicaid. Some how many pills and vitamins I take. But he's like, I saw the dude. I didn't know out the bat who he was. He said, hey, brother Ron, thank you for the colloidal silver suggestion. I said, oh. Then he told me who he was. Oh man, you the brother from the vitamin shop. So I see this guy of all places in Atlanta in September 19th. Right? I think that was September 19th. But I met him in Memphis, March 7th, 2020. It's been that type of interesting year, man. So that's brother George. Shout out to brother George, man. That made my day in itself. Like I could be of use to people. Like I could tell people something that could be of use to them. That could help them get to another level. That was very humbling to do. And overall, I enjoyed myself. I mean, people, like I said, it wasn't 3 hours. It was about 7 hours in all. That whole event, including 2 hour delay. Some things could be done better. I hope the presentation would improve. Cause he had the resources. I don't think he spent 120,000 on just renting the place out. He could have put some of that money. And like again, somebody made good suggestions about empowering black businesses. He could have had it at a black owned venue, like some of these large churches in Atlanta or at some of these HBCUs that got room. You know what I'm saying? But Tariq does what Tariq does, and I'll give him this. When he say he gonna do something, he does it. It might not be, you know, at a certain level that people may expect of him. Excuse me, but he does what he say he gonna do to the best of his ability. But Yeah, like also people talking about where there's no refreshments. Yeah, it was too much anything. You got people, a lot of our people got pre-existing conditions, and this COVID ain't helping matters. So you got a lot of us being diabetics and all this type of stuff, got all type of health conditions. They could have had some complimentary water, and some other things for the people, because you expect us to be there for 7 straight hours with no food, or they could have had, people talk about the red velvet cake. I ain't get a chance to taste the red velvet cake, but people were talking about it. My brother George, you know, from the vitamin shop. But they could have had some things. And like I said, all I got was the wristband. I didn't get no souvenir book or nothing like that. It is what it is. And I got a speeding ticket too, but that's another story. But if y'all, got love for Brother Run, can y'all help a brother out? Cash out R2C2H2. PayPal, Google Pay, R2C2H2 at gmail.com. Vimo. Is it Vimo? At R2C2H2 at R2C2H2. So nah, I don't want people to well, Brother Ron dishing Tariq Nasheed. Nah, I think I gave a fair assessment of the situation. Not really dissing Tariq Nasheed, but like over the years, I have spent money with Tariq Nasheed and his God work, and I don't regret it. But at the same time, with the Foundation of Black America Conference, if he's really gonna do this again, you need to step it up a little bit better with the presentation and with the logistics. I think it's very important. But at the same time, I think it's more important that people just build where they at, in terms of locally. Build up your organizations, build up the resources, do what you need to do in order to empower your community locally. And then we should share notes with each other using the technology. And I don't know if they put out the whole stream or the whole video of the event. Um, But I think, in my honest opinion, it should be made free to the people. So we put a lot of money into said event. Like I said, people spend a lot of money coming from out of town, even out the country, to be there, and that's the least they could do. Because I believe they made their money. If you're not giving people refunds back, you more than made your money. So that should be just a thank you. Just give out the whole thing for free, right? But with that said, I don't have any animosity, none of that stuff. Like I said, I look forward to connecting. I met some people there that I want to introduce to my audience, and some well-known people as well as not so well known yet, but I want them on my platform. So I'm glad I went, but that's my criticism, my critique. And without criticism, you won't have success, or without critics, you won't have success. To paraphrase Brother Malcolm X, without critics, you won't have success because you don't know what the bar is. So anyway, thank you, family, once again for listening to Brother Heard, the words from Brother Heard. If you enjoyed the words from Brother Heard, words create worlds, please spread the word and subscribe. YouTube, We All Be TV. It's all together, We All Be TV. Cash out support for the movement. Knowledge is the currency of the universe, but we need help to sustain the mission that we're doing. Very important God work. If you feel like I have motivated you to do more and to be more, cash out your support and love. Cash out $ R2C2H2. That's $ R2C2H2. You could Google Pay or PayPal your support at R2C2H2 at gmail.com. That's R2C2H2 at gmail.com. Also Vimo. I'm saying it right. Vimo, Venmo, or Venmo. Y'all know what I'm talking about. At R2C2H2. At R2C2H2. Whatever's scrolling down that screen. Y'all see that scrolling? Y'all do that. One love. Thank y'all for listening once again. In the words of great Duke Ellington. In the words of the great Duke Ellington. We love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing. White power, divide and conquer. Black power, unity and solidarity. See how it works? Somewhere.
everybody. This is Brother Ron. I am asking you all to do me a big favor. Think about supporting the We All Be movement. Your donation is tax deductible. The We All Be Group Incorporated is a recognized 501c3. And I'm just asking you all because I want to keep on bringing y'all quality work through the way that I know how to do best. And I'm going to sing my praises and toot my horn. A lot of y'all were not hip to Dick Gregory until Brother Ron brought him on the We All Be platform, until that Django review we did. Y'all seen another side of Judge Joe Brown, and Judge Joe Brown's message has been amplified. But it was We All Be that brought Judge Joe Brown to y'all back in 2014. And so many others. And we covered so many things. So help us out so we can help you all. Peace.